Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Wanted to come to you with a book haul. Last weekend we were out and about, and right here in our hometown, our little store that sells used books, we went in and we found out that the older couple that runs it, they officially have went out of business. They're retiring. They've been doing it for a long time, and they retired and sold their building to another company, and so they've been liquidating all of their stock. And I went in there last weekend, pretty excited. I mean, I knew they were closing shop, but I figured the books would still be there because their books don't move very fast. They're more of a furniture store. And so I was excited to grab maybe a couple of books before they closed out, and I got in there and they were literally all gone. They had somebody come from Omaha and then bought the entire lot of books that they had, and that was a very sad moment for me anyway. For them it was good because they were able to get rid of the stock without not having to worry about where it's going to go. And so, I mean, it was, I guess, bittersweet. Bitter for me, sweet for them. But I didn't get any books, and so we were out and about yesterday, and in St. Joe at Books Revisited, I got my wife to stop, and well, I picked up a few titles. Big surprise, right? So I wanted to share those with you. And so the first book that I picked up, I got a couple of Lincoln titles here because, as you know, if you follow the channel, I'm a big Abraham Lincoln fan, and I'm getting very close to having 100 books on Lincoln. And so I added two new titles that I've never had before. The first one is Abraham Lincoln, a documentary portrait through his speeches and writings. And this book is actually edited by Don Fehrenbacher, who was an older historian. I thoroughly enjoyed his books, and I have a lot of respect for him. And so this was a good find. It's a Signet Classic published by the New American Library, and it is from the year 1964. 1964. So I was glad to have that. That'll be, I think, a fairly quick read. It's only 288 pages, so I should be able to get through that pretty quick. The next Lincoln book that I'd picked up, I had not heard of this author, so this was a brand new one here. This is Abraham Lincoln by James Doherty. It's kind of a nice little volume. It's not in the best of shape. There's the spine. I don't know if I can catch the light. Probably can't catch the light on it. But the spine is bent just a little bit. But it's an older copy, so I'm okay with that. I collect Lincoln books, so I'm good with that. This is a scholastic book out of New York, and it is from it's older. It is from the year 1966. 1966. And so, like I said, that's a new one. I had not heard of that author. So it'll also be a pretty quick read. It's only, 247 pages. So I'll be able to get through that fairly quickly. As I was browsing the shelves there that have their history selection, I found this volume, The Transformation of Virginia, 1740 to 1790 by Rhys Isaac. And that name pops up all the time in the bibliographies when I'm reading old books. And so I was very excited when I seen that because I don't usually see his books pop up. And I actually saw this the last time I was there, and I ended up putting it back because I found a couple other books that I wanted more. So I was really glad that it was still there. Let me read the back to you here. Let's see here. In this original study, Rhys Isaac describes the effect of religious revival and political revolution on the life of Virginia. Its great plantations and slave quarters, the capital city of Williamsburg, and the small planters' 50 acres, and the College of William and Mary, as well as the Baptist meeting. He vividly recreates and painstakingly dissects a society in the turmoil of profound inner change. And, this will be handy. This is actually what I'm teaching right now to my kids. We're getting ready to wrap up the unit at school. We're looking at, culture and stuff in the colonies right before the conflicts begin to happen for revolution. And this is a pretty thorough book. It's got 400 and a little over 450 pages in it, and it's got plenty of notes in the back, and the bibliography's pretty intense. So I'm pretty excited to add that to the collection. This was kind of a cool book. It's a hardback. Band of Giants: The Amateur Soldiers Who Won America's Independence by Jack Kelly. And I am not familiar with Jack Kelly, so this will be a new one. It's a thin little volume here, and it is from Palgrave Publishers, Macmillan, and it is a 2014 book. And it is only, like I said, it's a smaller volume, 276 pages in this one. But I'm pretty excited to add this to the collection. It's got a lot of really good blurbs on the back. Thomas Fleming, Willard Stern Randall, Edward Lengel, John Furling, Paul Lockhart. So all real good authors with this time period. And so it's blurbed. So let's look at the front cover here. So this is what it says. It says, the fighting men who turned the ideas of the founders into reality were a diverse and surprising group of Americans. In this concise, riveting narrative of the Revolutionary War, Jack Kelly paints a moving portrait of its principal soldiers, merchants and mechanics, farmers and fishermen, paragons and drunkards. Most were ardent amateurs. Even George Washington, who was assigned to take over the brand new Continental Army in 1775, consulted books on military tactics. Henry Knox, the burly Boston bookseller, who took over the American artillery at the age of 25, had never been in combat. Nathaniel Greene, brilliant but insecure, was a pacifist Quaker who became the youngest of the American generals. Hulking Virginia backwoodsman Daniel Morgan relied on his deeply democratic instincts and his skill as a bare-knuckle fighter. Focusing on a series of pivotal battles, Band of Giants vividly captures the fraught conditions of the war, the divided populace, the lack of supplies, the setbacks on the battlefield, and the appalling physical hardships. In one of the most remarkable feats in world history, a group of inexperienced warriors confronted and defeated the superpower of the day, an accomplishment that turned them into a band of historical giants. And so I'm really looking forward to that. Sounds like it's going to be a really good book. Okay, so Band of Giants is, I think, going to be a really good book. I'm pretty excited to read that. The next book that I got, and I actually have another one at school, almost identical to this. It's The Life and Times of Charles II by Christopher Falkus. And the general editor is Antonia Fraser, who, of course, wrote those massive biographies on the royal families. And I've read the one on Mary, Queen of Scots, and I've got the one on Cromwell on the shelf. I have not read that one yet, but there's several others I hope to find someday used. This is This is a Doubleday and Company out of Garden City, New York, and it's a 1972 book, but it's an illustrated book. It's really cool. There's a whole series of these, and Antonia Fraser does the editing work. And as I said, it's full of illustrations all throughout the book. I've got one at school on Elizabeth I, and so this will really go handy with that. And now that I know that it's actually a series, because I didn't have a chance to really look it up, or I didn't think to anyway, I might actually be on the lookout for the rest of them in this series, because this is pretty cool. So I'll have to do a little further research on that. I will say on this one, there's a little bit of must have gotten damp or something, because you got some wrinkles in here, and it's probably not in the best of shape. I bought it more because I want to learn more about the royals, but more because I got the one on Elizabeth I at school. And so the last book in this book haul is a book that I actually listened to on audiobook earlier in the year during the, well, was it early summer, I think, when we were going through the quarantine time when everybody was at home, and I found the hardback book, and it's The First Conspiracy: The Secret Plot to Kill George Washington by Brad Meltzer and Josh Mensch. And this book, of course, at Books Revisited, the hardbacks are only $2, and this book is literally in brand new condition. I bet it's only been read maybe once. I don't even know if it's been read once, and so I'm pretty excited about that. I'll be honest, when I listened to the book on audio, I wasn't really that enthused and that excited. I'm hoping that maybe when I read it, I get a little bit more out of it and I enjoy it a little bit more. Just the subject matter that he was dealing with, there's just not a lot of documentation on it, and so the stuff he's reporting on is it's hard to do a book when there's no documentation, and so he had to do a lot of filler work for this book, and so that and you can, if you're familiar with the time period, you pick up on that. Now I'm guessing because this was written for the this is more of a book that'll be put out for the general audience. I'm guessing the general audience won't know that, and they'll probably enjoy it. But I've read a little bit, and I kind of know what's there, a little bit about what's there and what's not. And so, anyway, this is from Flatiron Books out of New York, and it was a 2018 book. And so I was glad to add it because I got a Washington collection here in the library. So I was glad to add it since I had already read it anyway. And so anyway, those are the books that I got in the book haul yesterday as we were out and about. Went to Books Revisited. Tell me what you think, BookTube. You can leave your comments down below, and I hope everybody's getting some last-minute book hauls in because, with just how everything is right now, I don't know how many times we're going to be able to get out and about anymore. Things might start slowing down again. So, I hope not. I hope we're able to do things safely, but, it is what it is. And so, till next time, BookTube, happy reading.